he came into Kim's office one morning, and he had a fossilized rock in his hand. And he comes in real serious-faced and walked into Kim's office and goes, Kim, I'm Carroll Hunt Bourne. I'm a publisher of the News Herald, and I have a question for you, sir. He said, I'd like to know what this rock is. I need to identify it. Can you identify it? Well, Kim took a hold of the rock and looked at it and turned it, and he said, he kept on thinking, I'm a graduate, I'm a county agent, I'm supposed to know all this stuff, and I need to be professional, and I need to know what I'm doing, and I should know, but really, of course I don't know. So he looked at it a while, and he stammered, Mr. Bourne, we'll find out. And so Carroll Hunt, if you ever heard him laugh, most of you know, when he would laugh, he'd go, and he would just jump up and down, Well, that broke the ice for Kim, in the county. That was his first visit, and he had lots more funny things that happened over the years, but I don't have time to share them all, but that was his first visit to his office. There's also been a lot of things that happened since then over the past 35 years, and Kim is now the longest serving extension agent to ever work in Owen County. And he has excelled in lots of programs. And I can't mention them all, but I want to mention a few that I think he was very proud of, and some of the rest of you may mention some others. And that is the Management First program, the Tobacco Cost and Returns Project, Small Business Training and Coaching, Owen 2020 Project, numerous test plots, most of those at Eaton Shale, and Leadership Owen County. And so and there's numerous other things I can remember, and some programs I've worked with him on, but a lot of these programs that he worked on, some of the things that were learned from these were applied at counties all over the state. And the Eaton Shale project, there were about 40 counties that consider Eaton Shale, aren't these 36 or 40 counties? And some of those agricultural demonstrations, research projects were used, the results of them, in numerous counties around. So it made a big impact on agriculture. I'd like to also take a little time to just tell you that my experience with Kim has been in extension and outside extension as well, in that we worked together. He was a scoutmaster of Troop 891, and I was his assistant scoutmaster. But what happened, and how he got me into this is like Judy gets me into stuff too, is he called me one day. I was at the office, and he goes, Dallas, I have this real important thing to talk to you. You have a minute? I said, sure. He said, I think the boys, Teddy and Mike and Matt were in the 5th grade. And he called, he says, Teddy's involved in Weeblo Scouts. And Mike and Matt need to be in this. It's just a great program. He started telling me what it was about. He said, I want to send you some material. I can't remember if he sent it to me or I came by the office to get it. But I looked at the information. While I was on the phone, he goes, I said, well, I'll think about it. I'll come back in. He goes, well, now wait a minute. This is something else. I said, okay. And he goes, well, I really need an assistant scoutmaster too. And he said, you would be a good one, Dallas. He said, let me tell you something. These boys are growing up, and we're going to have to spend some time with them. Time's going to get away now. You need to think about this. I want you to think about it. And he said, they're learning all these neat things. He went over a list of things that they're going to learn in Scouts. I said, well, Kim, give me a few days and we'll talk about it. So after a few days, I called him back. I said, well, I think we're going to do this, Kim. He said, oh, wonderful, wonderful. He said, I might have been on like Thursday, Friday. He said, the next meeting's Monday night. I said, well, where is it? He said, at the church, at the Catholic church. I said, I'll be there. So we were there, and it was a wonderful experience. We had a great time. But if you think about these extension agents, I don't know what it is, especially the ones we have here, Judy and Kim. I can't say no to them. Hey, you have difficulty with the same thing? I don't know if they teach you the GK or what, but you can't hardly say no to them. When he asked me something, and I've told both of this, I said, why don't you ask somebody else before you ask me? Because I just can't say no to it. But we did have a great time in scouting, and it was I can remember something that Kim used to say, though, that I want to share with you, and that is, when we would teach the boys, like the scout oath or Pledge of Allegiance or anything like that, sometimes they would be a little shy and they wouldn't speak out. So Kim would say, whoa, wait a minute. He'd say it like you mean it. And I have used that so many times. And after he said that a couple of times, those boys would say it like they meant it, you know. And I've learned a lot about that over the years, and Michael and Dan have heard me say that. Do it like you mean it, or say it like you mean it. But we had a troop. We ended up, I think, were there 3 Eagles out of that bunch? Four Eagles. We had 4 Eagles and numerous Life Scouts that came out of that. And those boys were very successful. We have some in the military. We have some that have management jobs. And one of my sons has a very important management job. He's on electric. And he's just out of school, graduated in 2010. And Teddy's been very successful. Many of these boys have done well. And that's just a real testament to the Scouts, but then to Kim. So I've thanked him many times, and I thank you again tonight, Kim, publicly, because I think part of the relationship I have with my sons right today is a result of scouting and Kim pulling me in. Little did I know that it's going to impact my life like that. But you know, Extension is like that, and I just need to stop for a minute and talk about Extension. Extension is one of those organizations where it's almost like a mission. You know, where you're touching lives. You're touching children's lives when you're working with children in 4-H. You're touching people out on the farm, in business, homemakers, all different walks of life. You're touching people in Extension. It's such an important work. And so I've been honored to work as an agent. I've been honored to work as a leader. And I feel so privileged because of that. But in Scouts, I want to share a few things that we did also. And that is we climbed mountains. We swam rivers. We camped in 15-degree weather. We did. We had cold weather training. An old Marine buddy of mine came and did cold weather training. We knew it was going to be cold, and he helped us and then camped out. And I can remember when we left, it was raining horizontally. It didn't turn cold yet. But it was getting ready to turn cold. The rain and wind was going horizontal, you know. And we took off the camp. We set up in mud that was this deep. And that before morning, it was frozen. And we slept on that. We talked to the boys. We were so proud because they made it all night. There were a whole bunch of troops. It was at Camp Michael in northern Kentucky where we camped. And most of the troops went home when it got that bad. They went. And Kim and I talked. And I said, "You stay." He said, "Yeah, we'll stay. We're not going anywhere." So we told these boys that you guys are tough. You can make it through this. And we did. We had a few mothers to call, though. Our cell phones were ringing off the hook. You know, but we made it. And it was a great experience. So I do thank Kim for that. And I'll share one more thing, and then I'm going to be quiet and let some of our friends talk. You know, Kim had if you saw him out working, he always had a camera. And you would see him lots of times with that Quinn, he used to carry the strap over his shoulder, and he'd be carrying a camera. Well, I had a little farm a few years ago, Mel and I did, a little farm down around Long Ridge, about 26 acres or so. And I grew about 3 or 4 acres of tobacco on that little farm. And had a lot going on at the bank. I was managing the bank in Carrollton at the time and had my hands full there. And we had 3 children at home and church activities. So I didn't get everything done on time. But I was down there one day topping tobacco, and I waited too long. You know, you're supposed to top tobacco. Most of you who've grown tobacco know when it's about 2/3 bloom. Well, this was 100% bloom. Well, you're supposed to spray it for aphids. Most of the time I did, but I did this time, and the aphids were eating it up. Well, I was there topping tobacco. It was real tough. You know, it was hot. And I was in there topping it, you know, going through the field, and looked up, and I heard a car, and Kim pulled in by the barn. I thought, oh, no. I was always glad to see him, but not then. You know? So he pulls up in his car, and he gets out, and I looked, and I thought, oh, it's him. I thought, maybe he won't have his camera, and I looked at it, oh, yeah, he's got a camera. So I kept on topping, you know, and he comes walking through the field, you know, hey, what's going on? I said, well, I'm topping the back, you could help me. And so he grabs the hole, you know, he grabs the hole, 1 or 2 of those, and he starts to pop it. You know how when you top the back, you go this way, usually it'll break if it's about right, but if not, you have to go like that. That's the way this was. It was so mature, you know. So it just kept on, and finally topped a few, and he goes, you know, that should have been done about 3 weeks ago. I said, yes, sir. said, should have been. He goes, you know what? Oh, aphids on that, isn't it? And I said, yes, it is. You aphids on it. So I kept on talking. I said, you going to help me? He said, I got to get back to the office. I said, well, I understand. That's fine. I thought, well, maybe you won't take a picture. I thought, well, yeah, I know you got to go, so I'll see you. You go on back. So he started down the road, turned around, looked at me, and goes, mind if I take a picture? And I said, of me? He said, no, the tobacco. And I said, okay. So I knew he was going to do it anyway. I said, go on, take it. You're going to do it anyway. So he took a picture of it. Well, I thought, well, maybe he will never show that to anybody, and it'll just be between us, you know. Well, I don't know that he really did, but I kind of think he did. Because I used to attend these chemical meetings, because if you were growing tobacco or working on a farm, you had to have a chemical certification, so I would go every so often to get one of those. And also, if they had an informational meeting about tobacco, I tried to go to those. So I can't remember which one it was, but I went to one of those, and he was showing slides. I'm pretty sure it was my farm. I'm pretty sure it was my farm. And he showed this, he was showing how you should top tobacco out when it's in 100% bloom, and you should spray for aphids. That was my farm. And he didn't say it was my farm, but I knew it was. So, anyway, I thank you for that, Kim. Okay, so now we're ready to have somebody else. I hope I didn't take too much time. But we have some people, friends, and co-workers who want to speak and say a few things.